I want you guys to listen to something. It's something called CDOM. If you look on the market, that means current days on market. That lets you know how long the property been listed, right? 95% of the time, I'm looking at property that's been on the market 7, 8, 9 months, and they've been dropping the purchase. They've been dropping the purchase price 10, 15K every month without no negotiation. That's because it's sitting on the market too long. And as an investor, we all know we losing money. So if you're a new inspiring investor trying to get into the game, this is the best time because the supply is so much of the supply, and not a lot of people going after it. You can wiggle yourself into a great deal, even though the asking price may be higher than you think.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the Marvin Francois Show, your number one source for all things business, finance, and investing. And today is a very special day because our guest today is the owner and founder of Intensified Builders. This man is one of the best real estate investors in the game today. And quite frankly, if you're an investor in Philadelphia and you were looking for a property yesterday, you woke up today and somebody bought it, it was probably him. I'm here with the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend. My guy, Dude the Entrepreneur. What's going on, family?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me. Absolutely.
Listen, it's a pleasure to bring you back. The first episode went crazy.
Yeah.
You came on here and gave game on top of game on top of game. And from then up until now, people from high and low were messaging me and said, if you don't bring this man back, we're going to have problems. Because I know he has more to talk about.
A lot more.
I know he has more value to give.
A lot more.
You know what I'm saying? So, I gave you your time. And for me, I was very strategical about it. Obviously, number one, I know you're a super busy dude.
Yep.
But more importantly than that, I said, man, if this dude is killing the game like this now, just give him some time. You know what I'm saying? Let him keep investing, doing what it is that he's doing so that not only can he come back and give game, but he can accelerate and move forward in his real estate journey and provide value on that as well. And that's what we're going to do today.
Yeah, I can't wait. Let's get into it.
So I'm excited. So like I said, there are some people who are watching this episode now that saw you the first go around who are familiar with you. But for those who are seeing you for the first time, take a minute to let the people know who you are, where you're from, what you do, and how you got your start.
Absolutely. So thanks for having me as always. New to Entrepreneur, Cornelius Middleton from Philadelphia. My background's a lot. So I got a bachelor degree in construction management from Morgan State University. Shout out to all my HBCU lovers. And then I went to Rowan University and got my master's degree in engineering. I worked in corporate America for about 2.5, 3 years for a large firm, which I won't say. But I was making great money there, and I resigned in the pandemic in 2020. I put my 2 weeks notice in, and as of November 5th, 2020, I've been full-time investing into real estate. So over my course of the journey, I done help people fix credit. I done help people get thousands, more than $1 million total, but $1,000, $100,000 in funding. And then now I'm actually taking those same individuals and saying, hey, let's get into the real estate. Let's buy properties, let's buy buildings, and more importantly, let's buy that land.
Let's buy that land. Yeah. And we're going to get into all of that, man. We're going to break it down. For you, I know a lot of people who say they do real estate.
Yeah.
But, bro, me and you have been connected now for a little bit under a year. I've been following you through social media. We've stayed in contact through messaging. You eat, sleep, breathe real estate. There's some people that do real estate, but, like, they got a little something on the side. You know what I'm saying? They do real estate by day and they do X, Y, and Z by night. I don't see you do nothing. Bro, you either on your way to Home Depot or you're on your way to the closing table.
Facts.
No in between.
Facts.
What is it about real estate that for you is like, man, I'm locked in. Like there's nothing else that's on my mind except building out my portfolio to the highest level I possibly can. What is it about real estate?
Some people might kill me for saying this, but I'm going to be honest. You can't lose in real estate.
Okay.
I done lost in a lot of other categories, in a lot of other industries. And I'm not saying it's the only one, but for sure, in my experience, you cannot lose in real estate if you do it right. Of course, you can make mistakes. Of course, you can lose financing. But we talking about overall, like the marathon, not just the little race here to the corner. I'm talking about 15, 20, 25, 30, your next generation seed that you plant today that you're not going to be able to get the harvest. We talking about 2, 3, 4 generations from now. That's what I'm referring to. You can't lose.
Can't lose.
You can't lose. It's impossible.
So let's talk a little bit about that, right? Because like you said, when it comes to real estate investing, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. This is a different kind of race that you're playing, right? You got to be able to have the long-term vision. However, for seasoned investors that have been in the game long enough, like you said, there are highs and there are lows.
Yeah.
And I'm not a real estate investor, but right now it would seem as though, from what I'm hearing from rumblings of different people who are in the space, it would seem as though we're in a bit of a low, right? I keep hearing all this talk about, okay, I see you already nodding your head, and that's why I wanted to bring you on, right? Teach me, inform me, because I'm hearing some rumblings around. Once again, I'm not in the space, but I keep hearing all this talk about the economy and interest rates and the economy and interest, and the market is this and the market is that. what exactly is going on right now in the real estate market? Obviously, I know, you do most of your investing in the area of Philadelphia.
Yep.
I would assume that it's different in different markets,
Mm-hmm.
based on different cities. But for where you are and for where you have planted your flag in Philly, what are you seeing right now that's taking place in the real estate market?
Rates are definitely higher, right? So when I started investing in 2020, literally in the pandemic, where it was like you had to wear a mask and then a mask on top of the mask, right? So
Right.
like it was super crazy during that time. So when I got into the game, people was getting primary mortgages sub 1%. We talking about 0.9, 0.8%, which has never been heard of, right? That's the first thing. Then the second thing, people was getting DSCR loans, which we can get into, which is like business loans for the properties. People was getting that sub 5%. People wasn't getting that before. So when we got into the game, we had 2-3 years of just super low rates. And being as though that the rates were so low during that time, now the rates had literally, it's a market correction. People keep saying it's a recession. It's not a recession. This is the market correction. It's correcting itself because it was so high before and it dropped down so low so quick. And then it stayed down to the bottom. I would say, like I said, like anywhere from 24 to 36 months. I would say 27 months to be exact. And then it started to creep back up. And now that's where we at now. So everybody jumping into real estate saying, hey, rates are high. No, rates are going back to where they used to be at, right? Mm-hmm. Prior to most of us getting into the investment strategy. And more importantly, prior to us grabbing multiple properties, right? So think about it like this, right?
So like you said, essentially right now what's going on is the market is correcting itself because of what has transpired over the course of the past couple of years.
Yep.
You started your real estate investing journey around COVID when things were all over the place, right?
Absolutely.
How, given everything that's happened from then up until now, everything that's taken place now, but more importantly, the experience that you've been able to garner from then until now, has your strategy and your approach towards buying properties and just investing as a whole changed, or has it more or less stayed the same?
So I would say it more or less stayed the same. My biggest thing during this time and since then was making sure I buy it right.
Okay.
I tell everybody, if you come to me with a bad deal, I can most likely get you to the finish line. But if you buy that property wrong, and when I say wrong, I mean higher than what it's worth. If you buy that property wrong, there's nothing I can do. You make money on the buy, not the sell.
Say that again.
You make money on the buy, not the sell.
Explain that.
So what I mean is this, right? People always thinking about, when I sell a property, I'm going to be getting capital back. But now that's one lump sum. If we talk about Uncle Sam, I don't know if we can do that here, but Uncle Sam going to need some of that. That's why it's called income taxes, right? Because I sold a property, now that's considered income, I got to file taxes. Most of us are entrepreneurs. So you got to pay self-employment tax and personal income taxes.
Facts.
And then you could talk to your CPA and get into the nitty gritty. But me, I want to be able to do something which is, whereas though I can create cash flow, I can create residual income. And then if I do decide to sell, then I can go ahead and pay taxes on that little bit of money. But opposed to me selling all my portfolio and not having no reserve, I got to constantly do the same thing over and over and over again. So I'm getting a nice lump sum check when I sell, but let's be honest, is it really worth it? Right? So, it's a lot to unpack there, but we're gonna definitely get into it.
We're gonna dive all into it, right?
Yeah.
So and like you said, for you, my thing for you is being that you've been in this space now for quite some time, you've gained the experience, you've taken your lumps, your bumps, your bruises, and you understand how to navigate the market that you're in.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people who are watching this episode, who are listening to this episode, who are either new investors that are still figuring this thing out, or aspiring investors who love real estate. They want to get their hands in the game, but they're not necessarily sure how.
Yeah.
And they hear all that rumbling from the outside coming in of, well, the market is a little crazy right now. If I were you, I would do this. Or if I were you, I wouldn't do that. Given your personal experience and where you've come from and what you see now, if you could speak to some of those newer or aspiring investors, would you say that this is a good time for them to get started in real estate? And if so, what are some different tips, tricks, strategies that you would kind of advise them on?
Absolutely. I think right now this was the second best time to get into real estate, and the first being yesterday. Right.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because, given that the market is so, we gotta get into it, Mark. We gotta get into it, right?
We have to.
So I always tell my mentees and my students this, right? When the demand for something is high, 95% of the time, that means the supply for it is low, right? That means a bunch of people want that thing, but there's not a lot of that thing. So therefore, the demand is high, and people can now start doing what? Raising the prices. So imagine this, right? Imagine there was only 1,500 pair, I don't know, this exotic sneaker that dropped. But there's millions of people that want it. So once I get my pair, I know for sure I can do what? Slap a higher, triple, double, even sometimes 10x my money, because I know there's a lot of people that want it. That's the high demand. But on the same contrary, on the flip side, when there's a lot of supply for something, there's low demand.
Right.
right? So being as though that a lot of people, new investors, are trying to get into the market, or if they thinking about it, there's so much supply out right now. You know why? Because no one want to pay the high prices. Everybody's saying, I'm going to wait till the rates drop back down. So now you have property sitting on the market 4 or 5, 6 days, 6 months on the market. I want you guys to listen to something. It's something called CDOM. If you look on the market, that means current days on market. That lets you know how long the property been listed, right? 95% of the time, I'm looking at property that's been on the market 7, 8, 9 months, and they've been dropping the purchase. They've been dropping the purchase price 10, 15K every month without no negotiation. That's because it's sitting on the market too long. And as an investor, we all know we losing money. So if you're a new inspiring investor trying to get into the game, this is the best time because the supply is so much of the supply, and not a lot of people going after it. You can wiggle yourself into a great deal, even though the asking price may be higher than you think.
Come on now.
It's a
we,
lot.
we ain't even get started. This man, I can see the steam coming out of you. You ready to unpack everything, bro. Let's get a little bit deeper, because the key word here, right? You're a real estate investor.
Yep.
The key word here is deals, right?
Yep.
What makes you an investor is not buying properties. I could buy properties. Anybody on the street could buy properties.
Anybody can buy properties.
We're not here to buy properties.
We're
here to find deals. We're here to buy deals, right? Let's talk a little bit more about that, because like I said, whenever I get individuals like yourself on that have the understanding and expertise of their field, I want people to walk away from the episode upset. Like, damn, I got this for free.
Yeah.
It don't even make sense.
Yeah.
You understand? So let's talk a little bit about that. As investors, how do you go about finding deals, right? If I'm a new investor, I'm wet behind the ears, breath smelling like something, like I'm a baby to this.
Yeah.
How do I go about finding deals? How am I able to differentiate a good deal from a bad deal? What are the different numbers that I'm supposed to be looking at in order to figure out, all right, this is the deal for me?
Absolutely. So the first thing you want to do is something called a 65% rule, right? It's like the rule of thumb, is like the basis. And there's so many different ways that you can identify if a deal makes sense. But this is one of the first and easiest ways you can kind of identify if the deal makes sense, right? So what you want to do is you want to take the after repair value, which is the ARV, and you can find the ARV multiple different ways, but the easy way to find the ARV is look at the most recent 3 sold properties in a nearby community, right? So if I'm looking at the principal property here, I want to find a property that's sold within the last 6 months within a half a mile from my subject property. I find my 3 properties, I get the average of it. Let's say the average is $300,000. What we want to do is we want to then identify, well, what's 65% of 300,000, right? We want whatever that 65% dollar amount is. We want to make sure we can buy and rehab our property for 65% of the ARV. Now, I'm not going to tell you that if it doesn't meet the 65% rule and it meet the 66% rule to throw the deal in the trash, it doesn't make sense. Like, are you going to cry over 2,000 when you can make 50?
Of course not.
Probably not, right? But so many people get locked in. Oh, it don't meet it. So I do want you to have some flexibility and be resilient there. But the overall thing is, if the ARV, whatever that number is, once you're talking about 65%, you have to be able to purchase and rehab your property for that dollar amount. It doesn't matter how much the rehab is going to be, whether it's 100,000 or 20,000. If you can't rehab and buy your property for that dollar amount, or that number is way higher than 65%, you got to kind of back out the deal. And that's like the easiest way to identify if the deal makes sense and if you continue to move forward with it.
Got you. So now listen, right?
Yep.
You know, the first episode, we talked real estate.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
And we talking real estate now, but I hold myself to a standard with the show where I want every episode to be better than the last.
Yeah.
I don't want to just talk real estate. I want to show real estate. Like I said, I want people to walk away from this episode and literally have the information that some other individuals will charge them $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for them to get started in the space. Can we do that? Is that all right with you?
1,000%.
I want to make sure it's okay with you.
Yeah,
sure?
listen. That's what I came here to do.
Let's do it.
I came here to do that.
Let's dive right into it, because like I said, I don't want to just talk real estate. I want to show real estate, and I really want to break this thing down from start to finish, right?
Absolutely.
So if I'm watching this, once again, either newer or an aspiring investor, I want to know from start to finish how to find properties, how to analyze properties using the 65% rule that you talked about, different things that I should be looking for, strategies that I can implement so I can walk away from this thing and go build my portfolio up. So
let me tell you what I'm about to show the people real fast, right? So one of the ways that I'm finding my properties, especially in the city of Philadelphia, so unfortunately, there's a lot of property in the city where they don't pay their back taxes. The owner, the owners, the business, whoever is not paying their specific property taxes. So what people don't know is this: even though I may own 100 houses, I must pay my property taxes every year. And if I don't pay my property taxes, that local municipality, Philadelphia being this, can take the property from me, even though I paid the property cash. So let's say you sell me a house for $40K. I say, Marvin, here's the $40K. It's my house now. We go to the title company. I get the deed. You get your money. I get the property. if I don't pay my property taxes, which may be only $600-700 a year, if I don't pay my property taxes for up to 3, 4, 5, 6 years, even after 1 year, the city of Philadelphia can say, listen, we watching you. We watching you. If you don't go ahead and pay that $600-700, and sometimes it goes more than often it goes up, right? So it's not gonna always be $700. But if you don't pay those property taxes, they could come seize your property and put your property up for something called the sheriff's sale, right?
Okay.
And during that time, before it goes to sheriff's sale, that's when I swoop in, right? So before the city say, hey, Marvin, I'm taking your house from you and I'm selling it at this auction, I'm giving you some time to remedy this. I'm giving you some time to make this right. But during that time, I identify that you need help. So here I come as a great investor, bailing you out of your bad situation, but more importantly, getting a great deal, right? So the city never take the property. You get some money because you still own it, and we basically knock the city out the box because I'm helping bailing you out before you get to that point, right? So it's a small, fine window before the city take it and the previous owner still own it, and that's when I jump in and say, you know what? I can make you a cash offer.
Are you trying to leverage your personal credit to get business credit or business loans, but keep getting denied because your personal credit isn't where it needs to be? Takeoff Financial can help you restore your personal credit so that you can leverage it towards getting the funding that your business needs. So click the link above or below this video so that you can schedule a free consultation and see how we can simplify your finances and your life. Can we break that down? Can we? I want to show them the game. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Let's show them.
Got you. Josh, are we on the screen right now? Let us know when you're on the screen. There we go. We cooking with Crisco. All right.
Absolutely.
So what I'm seeing right now is what the people are seeing. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing it live and direct.
Yep.
The floor is yours. Break this down. I may come in here and there, ask a question I think the audience wants to know, but walk them through step by step. If I'm a new investor, I'm figuring this thing out. Walk me through it.
Absolutely. So right here, I'm on the data.philly.gov website, right?
Right.
This is the website that is 100% free of charge. It doesn't cost anything to get on this website. You guys seen it right there. You guys see it at the top, data.philly.gov. So what I'm going to do is this is the website where I can find out all delinquencies and all taxes, and we can get into that. If you see right here at the top, real estate tax delinquencies, this is the website where you want to be on. So as of right now, the city of Philadelphia is calculating about $120 million worth of back taxes in the city of Philadelphia. This is not the surrounding counties. This is just in Philadelphia.
That's crazy.
120 million. That's a lot of money to go get.
Right.
So what I want to do is, a lot of people say, well, how you know what zip code to go to? It doesn't matter, right? So it doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow this map up real fast, right?
Let's do it.
And if I hover over all these different zip codes, you can see that different things pop up, right? So we're going to just go ahead and let's go ahead and pick up 19133, right? Which is the North Philadelphia section. So I'm going to click on that, all right? So out of the 120 million debt, 19133 has 4 million of that debt.
Gotcha.
Right? You guys see that? So the filter is from 120. So 4 million out of that money is coming from the actual 19133. So when I go ahead and scroll down, you guys look right here, real estate tax delinquencies. So now these are all the properties. You see this right here, street address. These are all the properties within 19133 that has back delinquencies and taxes, right?
Right.
So we can go ahead. I don't want to. This not scripted, right? So I can go to page 3. I don't know. Let's just choose it doesn't matter. At this point, I can just go to page 316 if I like. You know what I mean? Or I can go back to page 1 and just say, you know what, let's filter. So I'm gonna go to page 4. I'm gonna scroll down without looking. Let's just see. We're gonna just choose this 3044 North 10th Street. All right. 3044 North 10th Street. And this owner is Julius Bristow, right? Julius Bristow. So what I then would do is this, y'all. I'm gonna take this property, which is 3044 North 10th Street. I'm gonna come here. I'm going to go to Philly.gov. 1 second. I'm going to go to Philly.gov. While that's loading up, all these properties here has some type of back taxes in it. And I don't know how much they owe at the moment. And if you see right here, it says principal due, right? It's saying this person owes $66,215, right? So you see that it's not even much. It's not much money that the city's asking for, but they saying they want theirs, right?
My thing is, when it comes to it, because the property taxes is tied to their mortgage payments, correct?
So that's the thing. Most times it is, but there are some cases where it's not, right? So you have some individuals that could have had this house passed down to them, and then they own it outright. They don't have a mortgage. You know what I mean? So once you pay the mortgage off, if you have finances from a bank, once that bank gets paid off, they stop all that collecting of the money and paying the city and paying its insurance. It's your responsibility. And some people drop the ball there.
Got you.
Yep. So what we got, 3044 North 10th Street. So what I'm going to do is I wanted to show you guys exactly how to actually find this owner I'm gonna try to refresh the page really fast. But what I'm gonna do is on this website right here, which is the City of Philadelphia website, I'll be able to search for the specific owner. In this case, we said it was Julius Bristow, and I'll be able to get all of Julius Bristow information right here, right now. Gotcha. So that was 3044 North 10th Street. So what I'm doing now is I'm searching for that property that has back taxes, okay? So here it is. So let's see.
Hold on. So picking up where we left off from
Absolutely.
before. Yeah, got you. So picking up where we left off from before, we went to what was the name of the website we went to before?
Data.philly.
Data.philly.com.
Yep.
So that was a totally free website, right? Because
Totally
I know
free.
usually when it comes to searching for investment properties, the go-to a lot of people use like is PropStream.
Yeah.
Right? But you are using a free city website. So that means even if I live in Louisiana,
Anywhere.
New York,
Mars.
Cali,
Yeah.
anywhere across the country, I can essentially tap into that same resource that you use.
Absolutely.
All right, got you. So continue walking me through it.
Absolutely. So now that we identified a property that has back taxes on it based on the City of Philadelphia website. So now we're taking it a step further to confirm what we know, right? So, this is a good property too. This would be one. I might gotta go home and look at this one, right?
Let's do it.
So as of right now, they saying that the owner is ADM of Vet, right? So whoever that may be, right? Let's see. Let's click on.
What does ADM of Vet mean?
I think that's just maybe the
there's
LLC
the
name or
Got you.
whoever owns the property. But we can see that their mailing address is this, right? Mayheim Suites, Wissahickon, and Mayheim Street, Philadelphia. So we could tell this is an absentee owner, meaning the owner does not live in the property, right? So is he an investment property or a second or third property, right? So right here, if I go ahead and click on view the tax balance, let's see what comes up.
Okay, so break down, because like I said, I'm acting as if I'm a brand new investor. I don't know what I'm seeing on screen. Break down what we're seeing on screen right now. This is from the property that you found.
Yes.
Through the free Philadelphia website.
Now, and I think Marvin, this is actually a lot.
This is a lot.
I think it's a lot.
Let's go right into it. So break down, what are we seeing on screen right now?
So what we seeing on the screen right now is, as you can see, maybe it's some mess-ups here, but they still got the owner being Julius Bristow, right?
Okay.
So as of right now, Julius Bristow owes $36,000 to the City of Philadelphia.
Okay.
It's in red. You guys see it here. It's a free website. Let's go ahead and break this down. Let's go ahead and look at view the liens and debt, right? So basically, we want to look at how. Oh man, right? Look at this.
Okay.
I'm sorry if anybody related to Julius. This is just. This was randomly.
And this is public information,
This is
right?
public.
So
This
once
is
again,
public.
this is not, there's nothing wrong with us pulling this information. every
Absolutely.
time.
No, not at all. This is actually a great opportunity for us to make some money.
Okay.
Right? And Julius to make some money.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, Julius hasn't paid taxes since 1980.
Goodness gracious.
I was born in 95.
I was born in 97.
Listen, come on now.
Come on now.
So, since 1980, this guy has been owing debt, right? And we're not sure what has occurred. But with this being said, as of right now, he owes a total of $21,000 just in real estate taxes, right? You guys see this real estate taxes alone, he owns $21,000. But then right here, the license and inspection abatement work, that basically means the City of Philadelphia knocked this building down. So maybe this building was hazardous. It was probably imminently dangerous. It was an unsafe building. So basically, the City of Philadelphia said, "Listen, we're gonna knock this building down if you resolve these matters." And they knocked it down and charged the bill to him. So between this bill right here, which is the license inspection of abatement, and the real estate taxes, he owes $36,000.
Crazy.
Right. So now let's take it a step further, right? Because people want to know, okay, well, we got the information. What's next, right? Look at this, y'all.
Oh, I remember this.
So you remember this?
True People Search.
Now we get to put it in use. All right. Then watch this, right? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and type in the reverse address. Was it 3044?
This is crazy.
Right. So watch this. Julius. Is it BR? Is it that? BRISTOW,
Yeah, you got it, yeah.
right? Yep. So then I'm going to type in Philadelphia. Bingo. I'm going to search this individual, right?
Julius, if you watch this right now, I'm sorry, brother. We
Listen.
didn't mean to put your business out here, brother.
Right. So it actually looked like Julius Bristow actually passed away, right? It looked like he deceased back in 2004, and he would be 79 years old. So let's look real fast, right? So let's see. All I got to do is come down here to look at current addresses and previous addresses. So if any of these previous addresses show to be this property in Philadelphia, I now know that this is his property, right? So let's see. It looks a little. So the current address is still loading up. So I believe this is Julius though, right here. I wanted to show you specifically exactly where you can find it, but it's loading up. But try to give it a second. But so what will happen is right here on this website, on this page right here, it will let you know, right, that underneath the current address of the property details, or I'm sorry, previous addresses right here underneath this tab, it will give you that same address in Philadelphia. It will give you that 10th Street address. And if it pops up here, we know that this particular guy is the owner. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there could be a whole bunch of Julius Bristows in the city of Philadelphia.
Right.
So we got to specifically find that individual. All right.
Gotcha.
So now let's just say this is the same individual that we're looking for. All we got to do is come here and look at the phone numbers, right? Take one of these phone numbers, or if not taking one of them, take all these phone numbers and give Julius a call, obviously pending if this person haven't been deceased. So we'll call him and say, hey, Julius, my name is Mark. I'm an investor in the neighborhood, and I was actually interested in buying your property that you have at 3044 North 10th Street.
Yeah.
I'm a cash buyer, and by the way, we don't need you to make any repairs. I make all the repairs myself. So now let's just say Julius on the other end and say, you know what? This project had been giving me a problem, and we already know it's been giving him a problem. You know why? Because he owed $36,000. So we already know that he's need help. We already found that out. We already know that he owes back taxes, right? So we already coming to him, letting him know, listen, we know your situation. We know what's going on. We know you've been getting those letters from the city of Philadelphia. Let us help you out. Let us help you out before there's nothing you can do, and the city take your property and you don't make any money at all. 95% of people that's in that position say, you know what? I'd rather make a little bit of change than no change at all.
Right.
And at that very moment, then we're going to go out to check the property out.
Gotcha.
We're going to go physically into the field and let him know, meet us there at 1 p.m., 2 p.m., whatever. If it's on lockbox, let us get the lockbox. Or if it's abandoned and it's just a screw gun door, I'll bring my drill, we'll get inside. And from that very moment, we make him an offer.
That's it.
Just like that.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Nope. No prop stream, none of that.
All free websites.
You didn't have to swipe your card near not once.
Not once.
And you got
no
you a
subscription.
Deal. No subscription.
No subscription.
And you just got you a deal.
Just got you a deal, but this deal probably even special. I can get into it a little
What
bit.
is, I want to talk about that because you looked at it and I saw a sparkle in your eye. I saw a gleam in your eyes. You said this might be a lot, which we're going to get into in deeper and deeper.
Absolutely.
Like, what did you see that led you to believe like, okay, this may be a lot? Is it because of the license fees and things like that?
So what led me to believe this was a lot is this right here. This license and inspection abatement work, that means the building was tore down. Do you only get this fee right here if the building has been knocked down on behalf of the city of Philadelphia? Now, you can knock your own building down. That's not going to be on here because you paid for it out of pocket.
Gotcha.
The only time you get this bill is when the city does the work for you and then they back charge you. So because I'm looking at a bunch of land now, I'm able to identify when the person got the building knocked down by themselves or if it was knocked down by the city of Philadelphia and they paid it or the city did it for free. In this case, Julius, he owes this bill. It's $14,000 for the property being knocked down. So all we got to do now is take this and let's just see really fast, right?
Let's do it.
Let's just see really fast. Let's just Google this. 3044 North 10th Street. Let's see if we can pop up something. I want to see if it's a lot, but even while that's loading up right there, what we can do is we can come here. I think it's just moving a little bit slow. We could come here and look and see specifically if the land has any square footage. And if the land doesn't have any the building doesn't have any square footage and it's just the land square footage, I know for sure that means page unresponsive. Wait.
Exit out and try it again.
Okay.
30, 44. So you said if the building has square foot, so there's a difference between building square footage and land square footage.
Yes, the building square footage is the specific size of the building that's on the actual land, right? And then the land square footage is how big the actual land is. So you may have some land that's only 1,000 square feet, but you can build a 3,000, 4,000 square feet building on that particular parcel. 1 second. Not sure what's going on with this website today.
That's Philly for you.
That's Philly for you.
That's Philly for you. North 10th Street. So now essentially after you went to the Philadelphia website.
Yep.
Found all these different properties that are essentially having tax issues. Chose one at random. From there, took that information, brought it over. What was the other website that you had brought it over to? The Philly Profit.
The Philadelphia property search.
From there, found out,
Yep.
how much it was owing in back taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Also saw through the licensing and the permits that because that fee is there most likely means it's not even a property. It might just be a lot.
Exactly.
A lot.
It may just be land. Yep.
Now, from there, the next step is essentially doing more of your due diligence, taking that address, and I'm assuming you were going to plug it in Google Maps.
Yep. I want to plug it in Google Maps to see exactly what I have if they have a current Google Map search. If not, it's okay. I can still go to the City of Philadelphia website to identify if the building has been knocked down by looking at the square footage of the land or the building. If it doesn't have a square footage of the building listed, then I know for sure it's just land.
Gotcha.
If it does, it may be something inaccurate, but I can physically go out to the field and check for myself. But based on the data and the information, I think it's land.
Got you. So now I have 472 more questions. Is that right?
Oh, 1,000%.
So now, a lot of times what happens is, like you said, in the case, let's say I find a property like this or a situation like this, but let's say the original owner of the property passed away, right? How am I now? How do I find out who is the living and breathing owner of this property so I can now get my hands on it? How does that work?
It's an office in the City of Philadelphia called the Register of Wills.
Okay.
Okay. So you can go down there, and everybody doesn't have a will. So some people pass away, unfortunately, don't have a will, don't have a trust, nothing in place, and it unfortunately goes to the city, and the city then does what they want with it, right? But let's just say this person has a will. You can go to the Register of Wills and find out exactly who the next of kin was. And at that point, you can then do what? Contact the next of kin and say, hey, 123 Main Street, or in this case, 3044 North 10th Street. I see was your grandfather's, your dad's, whoever it may be, your brother, your sister, your son, whatever. And at this point, I would like to make an offer. All right. And then it's then from you to work with the next of kin to get that property under contract. And I have done that maybe like every bit of 6 to 7 times.
6 to 7 times.
And the thing is, the Register of Wills is 100% free. Everything we're talking about is free.
That's what I'm saying. I haven't seen you spend no money yet to find a deal. Just a little bit of typing.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit of typing.
A little bit of time.
So essentially, from there, you find the property, right? You've done your due diligence. All right, cool. I was able to speak to the individual. I found out, they're not really looking to move forward with things or whatever the case. Oh, excuse me, they are moving forward with things. Now what happens from there after I was able to get in contact, whether it was Julius or maybe it wasn't Julius, but it was whoever else the property was passed down to, then what happens from there?
So at that point, then we want to go ahead and send something called an AOS, which is the agreement of sale, right?
Okay.
So we want to send an agreement of sale to that person or that person next to kin and say, listen, based on the previous conversation we had, I'm interested in buying this property at said price. Now, mind you, you already know how much debt they are in. So you got to obviously make a conscious effort for them to be able to kind of, one, either make some profit, or two, walk away with a little bit of money, or just walk away with just no debt at all. So me personally, I would try to make an offer anywhere around the $40,000 mark so that they can go ahead and clear their debt, pay their debt completely off, and then walk with a couple change after that, right? So once I send the AOS to that individual, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the AOS to be signed, and obviously then start bringing my title company in. I don't know if you remember last time I gave a shout out.
Terra Abstract.
Oh,
you was just
man.
there. You was just there the other day.
Come on, man. I'm there like twice a month.
Come on, man.
Twice a month.
Going crazy.
Terra Abstract, that's my preferred title company. I'm going to then send that agreement of sales to them. They're going to go ahead and do their due diligence and open up title. At that point, they're going to be able to identify if there's anything on back taxes, liens, judgments, encumbrances, anything that's on that property that may come up that may be detrimental to me. They're going to make sure that get all wiped out, and then at that point, it's ball game.
So at this current moment in time, because we talked about real estate investing strategy, at this current moment in time, you're only looking into properties with back tax situations? Is that your number one priority?
So I would say 50-50.
Talk to me about
50-50. So right now I look at it's just like I tell everybody, I'm buying a lot of properties from on the market. And here's why I want to get into it. Zoning. Zoning. A lot of people, so let's just say we see a property, right? And I tell people it's all off experience and time. You may get into the property, you may get into real estate, you may come to Philly and say, I want to buy a property, which is great, right? But being that this is your first time buying a property in Philly, your numbers for rehab is going to be excruciating higher than mine. So now we both can spend 160, but you trying to spend 80 for the purchase and 80 for the rehab. That's where you capped at, right? But here I am, because my rehab is better than yours, I get better numbers than you, I can spend 100 for the purchase and 60 for the rehab. We both spent the same 160, but it's how our funds was allocated.
Right.
So now, because I'm in the city and I'm doing this every day, you even said I'm either leaving Home Depot or going to Home Depot.
No in between.
No in between. So
Right.
because I got numbers so close to rock bottom, true to cause, I'm able to offer higher prices than a regular investor. So now when people come in to buy properties in my near neighborhood, that's what I'm doing. I'm beating them out the price by 20, 30,000. They can't even understand how I'm buying it, but that's because my rehab number is way better than theirs. So I'm going to the market to find properties, and I'm going to things like this, Philly.gov, property back taxes, and then vetting out the individuals that want to sell right now, because I don't have a lot of time in my schedule to kind of go back and follow up. Even though I know the money's in the follow up, I want to make sure that I can find property that's ready to be sold right now.
Got you.
Yep.
So talk to me. So now, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the game.
That's ridiculous. Talk to me, Josh.
My laptop seems to be working fine.
Let's do it.
Want to swap out?
Let's swap out. So in the meantime, while we're swapping out, to kind of dive more into just strategy and everything else like that. Like you said, because you understand you're not new to this. You're true to this.
Absolutely.
You have a lot more leverage when it comes to your ability to essentially take certain deals and play around with the numbers essentially a lot better than some newer investors are able to do.
Yep.
I want to talk a little bit as well, while we're in the process of transitioning over, when it comes to, diving a little bit more into your strategy, it seems like you focus a lot more on like fully gutted properties from top to bottom, right? Is there a specific reasoning behind that? Like, I know certain individuals, I think, shout out to your homie, I think Calvin Cannon. Calvin Cannon.
Cash flow.
Is he also a Philly bull?
Yeah, he's fully bull.
Philly bull.
Fully bull, fully native.
Turnkey connoisseur himself.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Is there a specific reason why you lean more towards distress versus turnkey and vice versa?
So the reason why I like to do distress over turnkey, especially in my journey right now, and shout out to my guy Calvin, and Calvin, I'll throw a nugget in there. Right now, for me, it's less upfront capital needed to buy a fixer-upper per se, right?
Gotcha.
The way that Calvin is doing his strategy, when Calvin was 27 years old, the age I'm in currently, Calvin was actually doing fix and flips. He started to go into turnkeys as he got older into his journey and deeper into the real estate portfolio. When he first started out, he was doing fixer-uppers.
Gotcha.
And that's what I'm doing. I'm in my first 3 years of real estate. So for me, it's less money up front that I need in order to put down, because Calvin, he's buying a property Calvin is buying my end product.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
when
yeah.
I fix my property up, I'm forcing the value. I tell everybody do this, forcing the value. I'm buying it for 50, I'm putting 50 grand into it, but now it's worth 200, even though I'm only 100K invested.
Talk.
So now I can go ahead and take out my equity, put my money in my pocket, and then say, yo, Calvin, I got a property for sale. And Calvin like, yup, it's already done for me, put together. All I got to do is do what? Slap some tenants in there or take the tenants you already put in there.
There you go.
Being as though that Calvin is deeper into his journey, Calvin's bringing anywhere between 50 to 60,000 to each closing table. You know what I mean? Whereas though, because he's buying an already ready to go property. Whereas though me, on the other hand, I'm buying property that's been in distress for the last 15, 20 years. Sometimes the owner hasn't even seen the property in over a decade.
Yeah.
They don't know if it's a roof on there, if it's a front door, or if the building even still standing. I'm buying it for them for 20, 30,000, and I only got to put down 10, 15%. So let's just say I'm buying a house for 100K. I got to bring 10% of 100K. That's 10,000.
Yeah.
Shout out to my bank.
Come on now.
Shout out to my bank.
Come on now.
Listen, I'm gonna throw a little nugget in there, but shout out to Citadel Federal Credit Union.
Say it one more time.
Citadel Federal Credit Union. They give out the bag.
The bag.
They give out the bag. You know what I mean?
You
In the
understand?
form of a credit card and a line of credit. You know what I mean? And then I'm gonna throw a little one in there as well. It's another small credit union. It's a bank, but it's called Embassy Bank.
Say it again. Embassy Bank.
Embassy Bank. They give out the bag.
The bag.
The
You
bag.
understand?
I'm gonna leave it at that.
And just leave it at. But
Yeah.
I'm actually happy that you dropped that, because that's something I definitely preach a lot on the credit side too. A lot of times when people think funding and financing, they think Chase, BOA, Wells Fargo. But the problem with those banks, and it's not necessarily a problem, but those are national banks,
Larger banks.
tier 1 banks. You understand? You can get
there.
financing from them, but it's going to be a lot harder to do so if you don't have certain credentials you come into the table with.
Absolutely.
But these smaller regional banks, like what you just said, Federal
Federal
Credit
Credit
Union,
Union,
Embassy Bank, these are probably tier 2, tier 3 regional banks or credit unions that sitting. They waiting for new entrepreneur to come in to
soon
get
as
in
I
the
come in,
back.
they like, how much you need?
There
I'm
you
like,
go.
Where I sign, they like, you don't. I'm like, oh, give it to me then. You know what I mean?
Understand? Go ahead, flip it on the property,
Yep.
wash, rinse, repeat, do it all over again.
Absolutely.
So definitely a great gem there. I think we got the technical side set up.
Absolutely.
So let's pick up from where we had left off from before. 3044 North 10th Street.
Absolutely.
Julius Bristow.
Yep.
We got the information. Now the next step was essentially to go over to Google Maps and confirm what your assumption is.
Man.
Oh, it's over.
It's over.
So for the app for someone who's not privy to real estate, they may be looking at this and they just may see dirt.
Yep.
I think you see something a little bit different. Talk a little bit about that. What are you seeing right now?
So assuming it's this lot right here, right? 3044. I'm assuming that this one right here or either this one right here. But I think it's this one based on how the camera is. Let me just double check. You see the addresses on this property. 50. So what's this right here? This is 52, so it's going lower. So 50 is, 48, 46, 44. So it's like right about here. Right about here is this property, 3044. But being though that it's a lot, I'm seeing dollar signs.
Okay.
I'm seeing dollar signs, and I'm gonna break it down what I see, right? So
Talk to
now
me.
that was the first thing we identified, right? But if I look on here, remember I was telling you on fleet.gov, they tell you the building description right here is vacant land. Vacant land. We wasn't gonna talk about vacant structures from the very beginning, but look at this zoning right here. This is what people don't know. This is what I'm trying to tell people, right? By me seeing a property that's zone RM1, which stands for residential multifamily, that means I can put a multifamily on a lot by right. I don't got to go to the zoning board. I don't got to go to the RCO, which is the registered community office. I don't got to get no participation from the people that live on the block. I don't got to go shake hands and kiss babies. All I got to do is buy this land, and now I for sure can put a multifamily building on it. But now I got to identify how many units I can put on this land. So the city of Philadelphia says, listen, if you have a lot that's RM1 and your lot has at least 360 square feet for every apartment you want to do, we're going to let you do so. All right? So watch this, right? 360 will give me a single family house. But mind you, I don't care for single families. I want multi-families and better. So I need 360 for a single family. I need 720, which is 360 times 2 for a duplex. And I need 1080 for a triplex. So based on his lot size right here, I can put what?
Duplex.
A duplex. You see,
Come on. I might just start investing in real estate myself.
Come to Philly, man. I got you.
Come on now.
So based on this property right here, I can build a duplex by right. But it's no questions asked. It's guaranteed. It's done. It's official tissue. I can build a duplex on this lot, being though that it's RM1, and I got 921 square foot of lots, right? So if you guys look at this right here, it says improvement area. You guys see that improvement area?
Right.
It's not available because there's no building on it. I can have my improvement area 3,000, 4,000.
What is improvement area? What does that mean?
That's the actual size of the building.
Got you.
There's no building on the lot right now. So remember, just because I got 921 square feet of land doesn't mean I only can get 921 square foot building on it. I can get a building that's 3-story tall. I can get a building that's this long. Oh man, I can go down. You follow me?
Oh Lord.
So now I can put roughly about a 35 to 4,000 square foot building on this lot. Imagine how big that is.
Oh my
right?
goodness.
And it's a duplex. Now I'm getting multiple rents. Oh,
Come
man.
on.
So now I'm getting multiple rents, and I'm at the point where it's though now, single families. If I got a single family building, the tenant move out, I got to pay the mortgage. If I got a duplex, the chance that both tenants going to move out at the same time is slim to none.
Right.
And we're going to start talking about some of the program. I don't know if you remember last time I dropped a nugget on y'all. I told y'all to go to the WHAT program, Women Against Abuse. That's where you can go ahead and find tenants at Lovely. They got a whole laundry list of tenants that need housing. I got more programs just like that.
Okay. So much questions.
Oh,
so
yeah,
much
yeah,
questions.
yeah. Let's
First
get into
off,
it.
you talked about the importance of zoning. Zoning.
Zoning.
I want to give a quick shout out to another Philly bull that I had on here.
Okay.
Derek Boone. Shout out to him.
Shout out to Boone.
Every real estate investor that I brought on here, they talk y'all preach about zoning to the Himalayas because based off what I'm hearing, that it plays such a huge role in the ability to just make the most amount of money from these deals. So RM1 essentially is a type of zone. What are the other different types of zoning that we can typically look out for?
So you got RSA 5, which
Okay.
is residential single attached. You got RSD, residential single detached. You got CMX, that means commercial mixed use. You got RM2s and 3s, which is still residential. RM1, which is residential multifamily, which is like bigger buildings like skyscrapers. And then you got something called RTA, residential 2-family attached, right? So you got a very different amount of zonings in the city of Philadelphia, but the one I love, the one that got a deep spot in my heart, RM1s.
Okay.
My whole portfolio is consisted of RM1s. I think I got one RTA, but the rest of my whole portfolio is RM1, and it's a reason for that, right? I don't want to get into commercial mixed-use buildings because I know for sure after I have my office space, my office facility, I'm not going to have 15 different offices. And now for my commercial component, in order for me to generate rent, I got to hope that you put your podcast or put your barbershop, your nail salon, your grocery store, and you have to do well at that commercial space in order to make the rents.
Right.
I know for sure, I don't want to bank on somebody to do that, but I know for sure everybody got to sleep somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Right? Everybody's not. Sometimes we don't even go to birthday gatherings too much more. We go to restaurants and call it a day. So there's not many people in this time frame that want to go to those type of commercial mixed use spaces. So for me, I want all residential. So if I can go ahead and commit to getting a 4 or 5 or 6 unit building and put all residential buildings in there, now I can get 4 to 5, 6 tenants in there, and I know for sure they're paying guaranteed because it's coming from the government.
Come on now. Well, let's dive a little bit more into that because the first episode you gave a great gem in terms of how you're able to find tenants, right? And we're still on the resident. We haven't even started getting into land yet.
Oh, not yet.
Oh, Lord have mercy. We haven't even started talking about how we get in land yet. So staying on the residential side, there was a program you mentioned before. You just slightly touched on it again. For the people who didn't see the first episode, what was the name of that program? Women Against
Abuse. So it's the WAA program.
Okay.
WAA. And you guys can look it up. They're super phenomenal, very friendly, and they got a bunch of tenants looking for housing. A bunch of tenants.
Now, from there, you did also hint at the fact that there are a couple other programs. Is there 1 or 2 other programs you can share as well?
Absolutely. So everybody know about PHA, which is Section 8. Everybody know about Section 8. That's like globally, right? But I want to start talking about something that's a little bit more specific to regions and things like that. There's another one that's called RHD, Resources for Human Development. RHD is a great program. They have something called the Rapid Rehousing Program. So these are people that's coming from shelters, coming from homeless, and then they are given a voucher to live in a building. But the best part about RHD, 95% of their tenant that you get is 100% of the rent is paid from RHD. So the tenant has no portion, right? When I mean no portion, no copay. You know how you go to the doctor, they say, okay, most of your appointment was covered today, but just pay us $25. Most of the tenants that comes from RHD don't have to pay nothing. So the full entire rent is coming directly from the program. Right. So on a month-to-month basis, there's no need for me to talk to the tenant unless something is wrong or you need me for anything. But on the first of the month, it's dropping. The government has been almost 100% consistent when it comes to paying rent outside of when the government shut down. But when the government shut down, you also get what? Back pay. You can't lose there. Right. Remember how I said in the beginning, it's almost impossible for you to lose in real estate, but you have to put the systems in place to ensure that when something do stagger, you don't fall all the way back down to the bottom, you fall to the next step. All right. So RHD is one of the great programs. And then one of my favorite is the VMC, veterans, right? So I got a good heart for veterans because my uncle, he was in the war. And anybody that come from the veteran program, I'm almost 100% guaranteed giving them a unit. Almost 100%. So the VMC, you guys can look it up as the veteran. I forget the specific terminology, but multi-service center. The VMC, they got. I am not gonna lie to you. They probably got over 2,000 tenants right now looking for housing.
Wow.
Looking for housing
now.
And
both those programs they just mentioned, it's not specific to just Philly. Like they're all throughout the country.
All throughout the country. There's smaller divisions of these same companies. So if it's not RHD, maybe something related. But if you go on RHD website, they got a contact now button. You can contact them. You can even sometimes chat them and ask them, hey, I'm in Louisiana. Do you guys have a sister company or a parent company that's out here? They'll say, oh, yeah, a company that we partner with is this. And it may be something different in your place or your local region, but now you can reach out to them and they got the same rapid rehousing program. It changed the game for me tremendously.
Signing up with Takeoff Financial was really the best choice for me. It allowed me to take control of my life. I know that some people may think that that's really dramatic, but it's not. I feel like credit is really important, and signing up with them allowed me to understand that. I just want to say thank you because I think that you guys have definitely allowed me to feel comfortable. You allowed me to feel liberated. You allowed me to feel that it's okay. It's okay not to have great credit, but it's not okay to stay in that situation. So thank you guys for embracing me and allowing me to have a new life.
Head over to our website at takeofffinancial.com and let's get your credit score to the moon. We found what looks like an amazing deal, right? And mind you, we wasn't even getting ready to talk lots and land and things like that, but it seems like we stumbled on one, right? Which is a great segue into like something I really wanted to dive into because the last time that you were on here, we really strictly focused on, the residential and breaking that down from top to bottom. Fast forward less than a year later, now, I mean, you with the big dogs now, right? You went and took the investor hat on, you put the developer hat on, right? You're currently in a position in your real estate career where now you yourself are buying lots of land and things of that nature. Talk a little bit about that. What is the difference in, what the process is in terms of searching for properties like actual physical buildings versus like buying lots of land, like the pros and cons that come with one versus the other, some of the similarities and differences that come with that.
Let me just lay this out right here because I know everybody want to know about it, right?
Let's do it.
You make more money with new construction.
There you go.
Let me say that again. You make more money with new construction. Let's address that from the rip, right? But then outside of that, some of the pros and cons, right? So something that's different between residential buildings, whether you buy an existing building or buying a lot, is that when you buy in a building, 95% of the time the structure is already there. The foundation is already there. In the city of Philadelphia, you have basement, so the basement is already there, right? So you can kind of just go in and rehab as you see fit. Oh, that wall not bad, let's not knock it down. Oh, that roof is bad, let's replace that. But when you buying land, there's nothing there. There's not even most times there's not even underground utilities. So there's nowhere to flush the toilet to. There's no water coming to the building. There's no power coming to. There's no electrical lines coming, right? So you kind of got to do all of that, right? That's for one. But one thing that was really monumental in my growth was learning about the actual soil testing of the actual land that you're buying, right? So in the city of Philadelphia, as you can see, 3044 is a lot, right? And I know there was a house there before because we know Mr. Julius owned it before, right? But now that it's a lot, we don't know how long it's been knocked down for. So over the time, what happens is when the city of Philadelphia knocked that building down, there was a hole before. We don't know if they backfilled all the debris there, sprayed some topsoil, and now the grass is growing. So below that dirt can be a bunch of trash, right? Or it can be a bunch of backfilled good soil ready to be built on again. So by getting into new construction, you got to do something called a geotech report. A geotech report is where you come out and test the soil. So here's what happened, right? Imagine like a big straw that you drink out of. Imagine a straw going into the ground, and then it's closed at the bottom, and when it comes up, it has different levels of soil in there. So some of the soil be black, it'd be sand, sometimes it'd be sand, it'd be gray, it'd be green, it'd be all different types of stuff in that soil. So it lets you know how deep you have to go down to pitch a basement foundation in order to have strong, compactable soil. Right? With the regular rehabs, you don't even need a geotech engineer, right? So I had to kind of diversify my portfolio and who I go to as far as contractors, as far as trades, as far as engineers and investors to say, okay, well, this is what we need in order to make sure this building is ready to be built on. That's one of the major differences. And one more thing that I can say that changed my whole trajectory and my whole spotlight to real estate is, and we can get into it, is the contract that you hire for rehabs.
Oh, yeah. I would imagine. It's a lot. It's a different ballgame.
You're not unclogging just a toilet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is once again. This is big dog status.
Oh, absolutely. You need people. Everybody want to hire the Central Americans, the Mexicans, and things like that to come do the job. And I get it. They work good and they cheap labor, but they're not licensed. They're not insured. Right? And you need to make sure that when you're hiring people to do these type of jobs, that you're getting not only getting safe work, but you're getting efficient work, right?
Facts.
And if OSHA come up on a job site, thankfully they haven't come on my job site as of yet, but I'm sure they will. It's a part of the journey. It's a part of the game.
Right.
But when they do come, everything is in order. Everything is lined up, and I don't have a bunch of immigrants per se working on a job site. Nothing wrong with it, but we want to have people that's on the books, ready to work with their license and hard hat ready to go.
There you go.
So that's the major differences.
So now what's interesting about that is this gem that you just gave us. This is a free resource, like you said. We stumbled across. You weren't even looking for a lot. We just stumbled across it. And mind you, that was like page 4. We just playing around. Boom, we stumbled on one. How are you using the same exact resource whenever you're looking for whenever you're intentionally looking for these lots of these lots that you're investing on?
1,000%.
Same exact process.
I'm actually going to call this. I'm actually going to get in touch with the.
This
a deal. Oh, if y'all come by 3044, maybe next year and a half, I probably got it. And I mean, maybe even sooner than that. I'm literally going to pursue this deal. And the crazy part about it is I don't want to give my address up, but I got a property on 10th Street already. So for me to not have known this property was in back taxes like this, I'm kind of beating myself up in the inside. Like I should have already knew what was going on with this lot. So, when I leave here, before I go bust a grub, I'm definitely going to
gotta make a phone call.
I got to make a couple calls.
Gotta make a phone call. Live on the Marvin Francois Show. We just found a deal, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen, absolutely.
We just found a deal. Okay, so now another thing too, right? Real estate is a numbers game.
Yeah.
We're gonna dive a lot more into the land and just the complexities that come with that. But it's a numbers game, right? There's nothing 100% certain. And I learned that I had some little dibbles and dabbles in real estate. You're not reaching out to one property owner a day and thinking that you're gonna have success in this game. Nah, man, you're gonna have to make a couple phone calls, right? So with this this resource here, is there a way to like get a bulk contact a lot of these individuals that we're finding a lot of these properties? Can we talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So you can export this as an Excel, right? So I could pull a list of all so I don't know if you remember in the beginning, I showed you it was like $4 million worth of back taxes just in one I-133. I can export that entire list. export that entire list, and then I can go ahead and skip trace those individuals. No, we won't be able to use True People Search because you got to search one by one. But I can go to something called batch leads. I can go to PropStream. I can go to any skip tracing platform that offers the service and say, you know what? I want to skip trace these 1,000 or 2,000 people at a time and get all the most known or numbers and email addresses for them. And then at that point, have my VA or one of my team members reach out and send them a text blast. Me, I don't really do too much with the calling. I prefer texts because people most likely going to respond to a text over answer a number
Facts.
they don't know. And at that point, if we get some playback with them, that's when we go ahead and give them a call.
Got you.
Yep.
So now we use this free resource. We ain't have to pay $1 to
Yep.
get this lot of land, right? Like you said, this is a different game, right? We talked about the 65% rule when it came to residential. How does calculating the numbers on a lot differ compared to like when we're doing it for a building? Are we still using the 65% rule? Or is it an entirely different process?
Yeah, you still want to use the 65% rule, but you know your rehab is going to be a lot. So let me get them some game, bro.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So what most times what's going to happen is this. When you buy a rehab building, you're going to be getting purchase and rehab money. All right. So they're going to give you a certain percent toward the purchase price, and then most times give you 100% towards the construction. An example, you buying a house for $100K and you need $100K worth of rehab. They say, you know what? Because you're a newbie, you got to bring 20% of the purchase price. So that means you got to bring $20,000 out of the $100K. They're going to finance the other $80K for the purchase, and they
Right.
give you the other $100 for the rehab. In the construction, in the new construction, where what I've been doing is instead of me going to go get financing at the very beginning phase to buy the land, I'm buying the land outright myself. Therefore, I don't have a what? Mortgage. So I buy the land outright and get the paperwork, which is called the soft call. So all the paperwork, the fencing, the geotech report, the porta potty, all the permits and the plans, I go get all that already approved, ready to go. And then I take all my whole portfolio, my whole package, and I take that to a lender and say, hey, Marvin, I got this 4-unit building. I'm ready to build. It's going to be 4,000 square feet. We're going to have white brick on the outside. We're going to have stainless steel appliances throughout, LVP. I give you the whole dynamic. You say, yo, this building is going to be a bad building when it's done. I say, you know what? How about you finance it for me? You say, you know what? I'll give you 100% construction. Now, mind you, I'm still using the 65% rule because I'm using 65% of the ARV. So imagine 80K, 800K. 65% of 800K, which is the ARV, which is way higher than the rehab. You giving me $500,000, $600,000 to build the building. But guess what? It's not gonna cost me that.
So that extra money, you just
Hey, that's called the GC fee.
the GC.
Yeah.
Go ahead, slide that.
Go put that in your pocket. Put it in. But most people put that in their pocket, or the average person take a trip, buy something nice, buy some jewelry, whatever it is they like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Me, as soon as I get that GC fee, I'm back out there.
Right.
Looking for another deal.
Right.
3044 being an example.
Come on now.
Right. So I'm going to go ahead and get this property under contract and go ahead and buy this cash. Cash money. So it allows me to, and this the biggest hack of it all, right? It allows me to basically not pay interest on the money because it's going to take you at least 2 to 3 months to get your paperwork approved. Imagine you go ahead and get financing for the purchase and the construction of this lot. And for 3 months out of the year, because you only got 12-month loan, most likely, 3 months out of the 12 months, you basically sitting on your hands. You paying a mortgage and you haven't even broke ground yet. So instead of you doing that, I advise you to try to buy the land outright, get the paperwork approved, and then go get financing. That's the easiest. That's the easiest way to go about it.
New to entrepreneur, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sweating. This is it's not just BRRR. No,
Yeah,
we talk
it's-
about this is
yeah.
another level.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you touched on it before. Because this is essentially new construction, we're not just taking a gutted property and building it, fixing it up.
Yeah.
We're building something from the ground up. What's that process look like in terms of finding people who do construction, finding legitimate individuals? How's that process been like?
So one of the biggest things that I've been real prone to do is basically every week I'm trying to drive around the city of Philadelphia and look at work that's already being done by vetted, skilled contractors. So I'm going to other people's job site and I'm kind of standing there. I'm watching you, not just how efficient you working, but how you working with your guys. Is everybody in uniform, or are we just all wearing whatever we want to wear to work, right? So I'm looking at those type of companies, and then more importantly, I'm going to the famous social media, and I'm finding tradesmen, I'm finding excavators, I'm finding backhoe users, I'm finding concrete contractors. I'm finding everybody that I need to use in my project, either in person or social media. And I don't got a lot of referrals because there's not a lot of people, to be honest, there's not a lot of people that especially that look like us, that's doing new construction, especially in the city of Philadelphia.
Right.
So I just started and I'm one of few. All right, so pulling up on job sites help a lot, but I would say personally right now, I've been finding a lot of my contractors from social media.
Really?
A lot of them, like from, I'm talking about large firms, like large institutions. They got over 1,000 employees. I'm finding them on social media, and they social media may not have only but 10 pictures.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they got a great website where I'm able to go in and see their services that's provided, get them a call, a chat now button, and then figure out what they offer and then hire them. So you're dealing with a lot of money. You're talking about each project is over 500K. You know what I mean? I'm working on 4 right now.
4?
4.
So that now brings another question, right? Because I follow quite a bit of real estate investors, and everyone has their different philosophies when it comes to real estate. One gentleman who I follow, he invests more in, I think, the Connecticut area. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. I think his name is Welby Aselli. I'm not sure if you know that.
I heard him before. I'm not too familiar with him.
So one thing that he talked about was, a lot of times different investors preach about quantity. Oh, I have 50 doors. I have 100 doors. I have 200 doors. But it's like, it's not about having X amount of doors. It's about the quality of the deal. What's your cash flow look like and all those different things. So for you personally, and that's why at the top of the show, I asked about your strategy. Do you ever, and obviously you're a smart dude, I'm sure you do your numbers. Do you worry about like over leveraging in terms of like how many doors you're getting and how many deals you're doing all at once?
So yes, all the time. Like I always worry about, not honestly worry about always take into account over leveraging. Me, I never over leverage.
Okay.
Never over leverage. When I mean over leverage, so remember how I talked about the BRRRR strategy, right? The buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat process. During that refinance phase, some lenders say, hey, we allow you to go up to 80, 85% LTV. Right? That means you're taking out 80% of your equity and only leaving 20% in, which in some cases can help you, especially if you predicting or especially if you know a down market about to come, because you don't want to lose all your equity in the world. You don't want to lose all your equity on paper.
Right.
You want to get the equity out, and if you should choose to use it, you should be able to.
Right.
So me, I stop myself at 70 to 75% LTV. So what I'm saying is this. When I get a building and it appraised at $300,000, I'm only taking out 75% of the $300,000, and I'm leaving the equity in my building, which allows what? My mortgage to be lower and my cash flow to be higher. I'm playing the cash flow game. The more equity you take out of the building, the higher your monthly mortgage going to be, meaning the lower your cash flow going to be. So it's a trade-off there, right? But early on my journey, I was taking out 70, 75, 80% sometimes to get the money out to then go get more acquisition. And if you got that strategy, I think it's 100% good, but here's where you start to win at, right? After every so often, you should be able to throw a flip in there. Sell one of your properties. So imagine this. I buy 4 properties, and I keep them as rental. The 5th property I buy it, flip it, and I pay off one of the other properties I've recently had. So I'm always kind of trailing my previous rentals. And I'm saying, you know what? For every 4 that I get, I'm going to sell one or refinance one heavy and pay off another one. And by me paying off another one, and now instead of me having a mortgage on this first one, I own it free and clear. So now instead of my mortgage being $1,000, it's 0, and now I'm getting all my rent. So now my cash flow went up significantly, and that's per month. You know what I mean? That's every single month. So when you start talking about the numbers and over leveraging, you got to be very, very sharp on them numbers. Like you can't miss a beat.
Do you ever want to get your portfolio to a point where it's like, yo, I own all this real estate and it's 100% free and clear? Or or is it more so getting your portfolio to a point where it's like, all right, 30% of my portfolio or 20% of my portfolio is free and clear. The rest is good debt that I can now leverage to now go and get, whether it's refinance and take that equity and go invest in another deal. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Not at all.
No?
Not at all.
You don't ever want to get to a point?
Never. When I do go, I want to be 100 trillion in debt.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason why is because I got insurances in place, right? So although I know we spoke before the show, and you right when we started, you said, Newt, you just strictly real estate. Like people dibble and dabble. Like you don't really I do real estate, but I make sure I back my money up. Okay. I got insurances. So there's a lot of things that I'm doing, and life insurance being one of them, right? So I got life insurance. I'm actually preferred. If you guys don't know what that is, that's when they come out and check you. They blood test, physical test, do you smoke, do you drink, and figure out exactly how much your premium will be. But being though that my health is really good, I'm a preferred, meaning I can get the top insurance for the cheapest amount of money. So we talking about IUL's whole life insurance where I'm able to borrow against my own money. And instead of me having, me paying off my mortgages, I have my mortgages being paid off by my life insurance when I do go. Right? So most people drop the nugget. Most people name their mom, their significant other as the beneficiary, right? Or their child. But instead of me naming my family as a beneficiary, I name my LLC as the beneficiary. So when I do go, because I know it has to happen, when I do go, my LLC get the capital. And then the money that, mind you, my LLC owns the property though. So now my family get the difference between what I owe and they get free and clear properties. So there's no point in me being on earth paying off the mortgages when I do go. I'm setting my family up for 7, 8 generations, which I talked about when we first started. So this is why I don't dibble and dabble. I'm going hard in real estate, as hard as I can go for as long as I can go. And then when I do leave the earth, I'm making sure that the generations after me will probably never have to work ever again.
Beautiful,
Yep.
beautiful, beautiful. Another thing, first off, I've heard of people using life insurance when it comes to the real estate game, but kind of hearing you break it down in that way, I didn't know what was going on out here in these streets. I didn't know it was like that.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, goodness gracious.
Yep.
Another thing that you talked about on the previous episode that I definitely wanted to circle back on this one. I remember I brought up L&I, and you damn near fell out your chair. Look, see, there you go. Damn near fell out the chair.
Them people.
But then once again, that was on the residential side.
Yeah.
You know, obviously that plays a huge role in, you know, your turnover when it comes to securing a property, getting it rehabbed, and getting to the finish line and getting tenants in there. How is the licensing and permit game differ when we're talking about new construction, right? Because there's a lot more that's going on this time around. Talk a little bit about that.
They own you. I literally had an inspection today.
Oh, right before you came
like,
here?
Like, literally, I was like, all right, thank you, inspector. Like, I literally just shot him a message, like, made sure everything was good. They're very, what I learned about L&I is that they'll work with you if you want to work with them, right? So there's been a point in time in my journey where I was, like, kind of hiding from L&I. Like, I didn't want them to know what I was doing. And then there was a point in time where, though, like, they was in my business, even though I didn't want them to, and I was like, yo, what is y'all doing? And now it's at the point where we mutually want to work with each other. And I had to, it was a growing process. Like, I had to grow to this level to say, you know what? I don't mind them coming in and see what I'm working on. So right now, L&I has been somewhat okay. The hardest part about dealing with them is getting the stuff approved. I send them something, they say send it to this email. 2 weeks later, they never got it. But instead of saying, hey, I never got it on day 1 or day 2, and I've been following up, you guys been stringing me along, and here I am 2 weeks out, and you saying you haven't received the document. So now I got to go through the whole submittal process again, and I just lost 2 weeks. Now imagine if I had a loan during that time. I'm paying interest on that money. If you don't know, when you deal with a loan, you could break down per diem.
Right.
Per diem is how much you paying per day. You know what I mean? People don't even know this stuff, right? Like, this is some higher level stuff that you got to really know about. So if your mortgage payment is $1,000 a month and you break down $1,000 divided by 30, that's how much you're paying for that loan a day, right? So every day that you're losing, that's how much you're losing every single day.
Right.
Imagine it's 3-4 months.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 120 days or so that you just paying on money that you're not getting to use. And for me, it's not worth it. So me, I want to work with L&I, but I want to work with them on my terms and my accord, and I'm putting them in a position where though they can't say no, and that's by buying R1 buildings and buying stuff that's by right. And then I'm willing to wait the time because I know for sure it's not a no, it's just a win.
Got you. And then as we kind of start to wrap things up, like I said, I wanted to really provide as much value to newer investors. Obviously, you know, we dived a lot more into like the lots and lands and stuff like that.
Yep.
How long, if I'm an investor and I know eventually I want to get to first off, is the developing side of things for all investors? Like, should every investor at some point in time aspire to get into that side of real estate? And if so, what's the benchmark of like, yo, you should probably get a couple X amount of properties under your belt before you even think about playing that game?
Yeah, I don't know if I see some people doing it. I don't know if jumping into real estate as far as developing out the gate is maybe the best idea, because there's going to be so many things that you're missing, right? From just the internal thing, like the internal phases of what should happen and who should go first and who should go third and who should go seventh, right? So not right out the gate. I would say at least 3 to 5 full gut jobs. If you're able to get 3 to 5 full gut jobs underneath your belt, I think at that point, you then racked up a good enough portfolio and experience where you're able to say, you know what, I'm able to take on just 2 more additional phases, which is the geotech and then the foundation. Because you're going to do everything. You got to remember, right? In rehab, you got to demo the building. In new construction, there's no demo.
Ain't no demo.
Follow me?
From
So
scratch.
there's some trades. There's
Right.
literally trade-offs. So there's not too much more you got to do. There's additional maybe 2 to 3 extra phases that you got to do, but it's prerequisites. You got to know what to do prior in order to get to that point. And most people, they trying to jump in, and then real estate, it ain't get rich quick.
Right.
It's get rich for sure.
Wait, say it. What a way to close that. Say it again.
Listen, real estate is not get rich quick. It's get rich for sure. And you got a lot of people selling you the overnight real estate thing. That's not how it worked. It took me 3 years to get here, and I'm finally like sitting nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We good. But it take time, but I know for sure by you just being disciplined and being resilient, right? I tell people just like this. Determination is good to have. Hard work is good to have. But without both of them, you sometimes don't get anywhere. You just get a bunch of hard work. And just because you working hard don't mean you actually putting in the work to go.
Right.
Just because you're busy don't mean you really being productive, right? So just keep that in mind when you guys getting into it. But 3 to 5 projects, I would say.
Newt the entrepreneur, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Listen, what a way to close the episode out. Take some time now. Of course, like you said, you just gave him the game on top of game on top of game. You don't got a course. You don't got a webinar.
Yeah.
No ebook. No nothing.
Can't buy nothing.
Can't buy nothing. Tell the people where they can find you and how they can tap in with you.
So yeah, you guys can follow me at Newt the Entrepreneur, Newt _ the Entrepreneur on Instagram and all social media platforms. Like Marvin said, there's no ebook, there's no course,
You don't set them to a 5-day challenge, nothing like that?
no challenge, no webinar,
Nothing?
no free webinar, and none of that. No offense to anybody that's doing it.
Right.
I just don't have it. Me, I'm in the field. I told you last time, when you want to do real estate and you come to Philly, you know who to holler at.
You know what I'm saying? Last time you was on here, you were buying buildings.
Yep.
The second time around, you were buying lots of land.
Mm-hmm.
If we do a third episode, what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Might be buying skyscrapers.
Ladies and gentlemen, Newt the Entrepreneur at Newt _
Yep.
the Entrepreneur on Instagram, and that's it. Nothing.
Nothing else. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, no course, no book, no webinar, no webinar jam, none of that stuff. You can't get none of that. All you can get is just pure game on social media. And if you guys want to tap in, reach out to us. We can be more than happy to help you. But no, nothing you can't purchase in the bio. No link in the bio.
My God, no link in the bio. I
No link in the
appreciate you,
bio.
family. And I
Absolutely.
appreciate each and every single one of y'all for tapping into this episode and showing it some love. And if you haven't already, what are you doing? Take a second, take a minute, take an hour out of your day right here, right now. Just go ahead and slap that like button and show this video some love. We're very appreciative for each and every single one of you. And I'm appreciative of you, my
Thank
guy,
you.
for
Thank
coming
you.
through for a second time and just and blazing the episode down. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Marvin Francois. This is Newt the Entrepreneur.
Yep.
Y'all have been good. We've been great. This has been amazing. And as always, thank you. And God
Thank you.
bless.
Thanks for having me.
Peace.